I'm Steve with SciCan. Today I'm going to show you how to use the Hydrim instrument washer. Now the Hydrim is a washer that will take the place of an ultrasonic for most instruments. What you can put into a Hydrim are cassettes and loose instruments, except for burrs and other small items that could get circulated through the machine and damage it. So the big things we don't want in the Hydrim are burrs, small endophiles, any interproximal wedges, things of that nature that can get into the system and damage it. So as you can see here, you'll fill your Hydrim up with cassettes. You can fit the large cassettes on the top, smaller cassettes on the bottom. And then here we have a loose instrument tray and a cover tray so that any light instruments can go in here. Once you have the Hydrim loaded up, you slide the tray back in and shut the door. And there is a seal you can press here, so give the door a good push. And then once the door is closed, it's ready to run. And you'll see over here on our touchpad, there's 3 different options and then the unlock button. So if you have the rinse here, the P1 rinse, if you have really bloody instruments coming out of the operatory and you're not ready to run the Hydrim yet because it's not full, you can run that rinse cycle, and that will take the blood and any other debris off the instruments so that it doesn't harden on there. Once the Hydrim fills up and you're ready to run a cycle, if you're using cassettes, you'll want to use the P3 heavy duty wash, or if you're using loose instruments, you can just use the P2 wash. There's about a 10-minute difference between the P2 and the P3 heavy duty wash. When the screen here has the screensaver on it, just touch the screen and it'll bring up your menu options. To open the door, press the unlock button, then your door will be unlocked. Now the only daily maintenance you need to do on the Hydrim is to check this screen on the bottom. I'll pull this rack out of the way so you can see it better. This screen right here collects any debris that may get trapped in the machine. So what you want to do is just pull it out once a day, keep an eye on it, and rinse it off in the sink. One of the big things is if you keep your cassettes clean before they go in here as far as garbage and debris go, you won't have a lot build up in here, but you still will need to check it. You want to make sure to have any composite wiped off the instrument tips. You want to get cotton rolls out of the cassettes, interproximal wedges, mylar tape, and any other debris that can get trapped in the Hydrim and plug it up. To put this back in, you just slide it into the slot and push down on it. And that's it for daily maintenance. Now every 40 cycles or so, you're going to need to change the box of soap. So the machine comes with a box of soap. It's on this right hand side in the drawer here. To replace the box of soap in your Hydrim, take the box and peel off the tear tab at the top. Once you've done that, you can see there's a fitting in here with a cap in it. You'll want to remove the cap just by pulling it out, and then you can discard that. You won't need it. So now you've got your fitting here. The other fitting is right inside the Hydrim. So this just screws on to the fitting on the box of the soap. So if you can see here, try to get my hands out of the way, you'll just rest this next to the Hydrim and screw this on. Once it's on all the way, you can see that, you'll lift up the box of soap, and when you put it into the machine, just reach your hand back and make sure you don't put it on top of the tubing that's connected to it. Now when you shut the door, it should shut very positively like that. If it's rubbery at all, it's pinching the tubing, and you want to open the door back up and just clear the tubing out of the way. Now that we've shown you how to use your Hydrim, I just want to touch on a couple of other things. First off, the inside of the Hydrim isn't a sterile environment, and neither are the instruments that you're working with. So please wear the proper personal protective equipment when you're using the Hydrim. The other thing is, the Hydrim is a hot, moist environment, and if you put metal in there that isn't high quality metal, or if you leave it in there for a long time, it may corrode. So one of the first important things is to use high quality instruments. Second, after you run the Hydrim, take the instruments out, or if you can't take them out right away, at least prop the door open a little bit so that the moisture can get out. Now if your Hydrim builds up on the inside with some white debris, what you can do is run a cleaning cycle. It'll depend on the office how often you need to do it, but once a month is probably a good frequency to start with. What you want to do is turn the Hydrim off and then back on again. Once you turn it back on, you'll see this little eye in the bottom right hand corner. Press that and it'll bring up a user menu. You click on user, and then the first option you see there is chamber cleaning. Now what that'll do is it'll just run a 10-minute cleaning cycle. What you want to do also is pour about 3 cups of vinegar into the Hydrim and then run the cleaning cycle. The vinegar will remove any of the scale built up inside it, and at the end you'll be ready to run normal instrument loads through there again. Continuing on with maintenance, one of the things you'll want to do is just visually check the arms and make sure there's nothing sticking out of any of the ports. If there are, the arms won't spin. So if you see one of the 3 arms not spinning through the glass door, you want to make sure to check that. Now in some areas with very hard water, the machine does come with a salt packet, so this salt can be put right into this port back here on the machine. When your service tech installs the unit, have them test and see if you need to use the salt. If you do, you just uncover that opening and put the salt pellets in there right to the top. Screw the cover back on, and the machine will actually tell you when it needs to be filled with more salt. Now if you have instruments in the Hydrim and the power goes out, you won't be able to touch the screen. So if you need to get the instruments out another way, this is how to do it. You'll see on the door there's a little sticker that explains it, but I'll show you here. There's one slotted screw in the front of the Hydrim here. If you remove that, it'll then let you get to a pull ring, which will release the door. So just remove that one screw, and then what you'll want to do is grab the front of the door here, and then pick up on it. And once you pick up, it should come free. There is a grounding cable here, so you'll want to make sure not to pull that off. But you'll see under here, this is where the ring is. And if you pull this, it'll release the door and you can open it. The other thing while I'm under here is every 18 months or so, there's a piece of tubing called the dosing pump tubing. That's a good idea to put it on your maintenance schedule to change every 18 months. If you don't change it, it could wear out and the machine will tell you it needs soap even though it has soap. That brings up one other good point. If the machine does tell you it needs soap, but there's a full box in there, make sure to reach around behind and make sure the tubing isn't kinked. If you've done that and there's still an issue, it may be the dosing pump tubing. It's an inexpensive part and it takes very little time for a service tech to change it, but that's what may need to be done. So that's it. The Hydrim is very easy to use, as you can see. You just load it up and hit go basically. The nice thing about it is it's safer for the staff and it's more efficient. If you have more questions, please contact your local SciCan representative. The Hydrim does have different racking options, so if you want 2 rows of cassette racks on the bottom, we can do that. Also, if you have oral surgery instruments, there's a rack for either the top or the bottom that can handle that. So if you have any questions, please call our 1-800 number. Thank you.